everybody. How's everyone doing? My name is Kurt, and I'm a senior at USC, which means for the last couple of weeks or so, I've been doing everything in my power to not think about graduation and to see friends that I'm probably not going to see again in a couple of months. And so in that time, I haven't been really rehearsing this TED Talk or practicing it also. If this completely falls apart or seems unrehearsed, that's because it is. Please forgive me. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about my senior year because I'm trying to push that as far out of my memory as possible. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is going back to my freshman year, my very first few weeks at USC. Because for the last 8 months or so, I've had the opportunity to work as an RA over in Trojan Hall, just a few hundred yards from where we are right now. And as an RA over in Trojan, I get to do what any self-respecting 22-year-old would do and spend my last good year of college living with 17 and 18-year-olds who don't know how to take care of the bathroom, they don't know what the trash room is for at the end of the hallway. They still call me, even in April, letting me know that they've been locked out of their rooms. If I could show you my phone from down here, you would see that one of my freshmen called me at 3:43 in the morning. So it's still happening. But even though these freshmen don't have everything figured out, I really do believe they have some of the most important things figured out. And really, I think a lot of us did when we were freshmen at USC, or starting new at our job, or the first time we ever took a class. Because when we're new in things, we see them with a fresh perspective that hopefully I'll be able to talk about a little bit over the next 10, 12, 15 minutes or so. So the first thing I want to do is have everybody close your eyes and imagine that you are walking on a campus for the first time. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to keep it USC. So if this is your first time walking down Trousdale, you look to the right, you see Bovard Auditorium standing in all its majesty. You quickly scan over to the left and you see Tommy Trojan standing guard over Han Plaza. You probably took a picture with him the first time you ever toured campus. I know I did. Maybe you ran over to Traveler and you hopped on and, like all the cool kids, took a picture without slipping off of Traveler. And then if you keep looking around, you're going to see Zohini and the VKC globe standing at the top of that building. You can open your eyes, and when you think back to that day, everything was fresh, everything was new. Everything you've been working for 4 years is now right here in front of you. But what's a little bit scarier is that if you pan down and you look down from all of those icons and campus landmarks, you're not going to see a whole lot of familiar faces. This is especially true for me because I come from a high school where I am one of only 2 people in the last 8 years to come to USC, and I grew up about 2 hours away from here, so I'm not really sure how that happened, but I was alone when I got here. I didn't know anybody else on campus. Even if you came from a high school of 20 people that ended up at USC, there's still a pretty good chance that you didn't know a whole lot of them as you're walking around campus. And so freshmen are especially good at making friends. They have to be. When you're a freshman, you have a really special combination of desperation and shamelessness that makes you like talking to people for the first time. And as an extrovert, maybe I think it's especially easy to make friends because you go and you see someone for the first time and you ask them who they are, where they're from, what they like to do, what they're passionate about. Boom, instant friendship. And it's really easy to make these friends. You go into the dining hall and it's open seating. You don't know what anybody's involved in, where they've come from, their life experience. All of that is still in front of you. You still get to know it. But then we run into the problem of labels. Some of them are a little bit more obvious than others. We have these shiny gold name tags, and they show us who we are. They show everybody else who we are. We don't really get to decide for ourselves who we are in that moment because we've decided to pledge ourselves to a group of people, to a set of values, to a new group of ideas. And with each name tag we put on, we lose a little bit more of our authentic selves because we're jumping into something and we're saying, I value these things above what I stand for and who I am. And so now all of a sudden, you walk into the dining hall, that's the table for all the betas. That's the Kappa table. Oh, this is where all the burn print kids sit. And with every label you put on yourself, you lose another group of people that you can maybe become friends with or have a good time with. And these labels separate us. So for my first challenge to all of you is to take off this name tag, whatever it might be, throw it away for a little bit, sit with somebody new, say hi, make a friend. It's okay. There are a lot of cool people at this school. As somebody on TV or in some movie probably once said at some point, with great friendship comes great responsibility. As I mentioned earlier, it's pretty easy for me to make friends. Those instant friendships are what your freshman year is all about. You find somebody new every day, every week in the dining hall, waiting in line at the campus center and that hour-long Panda Express line. There are a lot of opportunities to get to know people. But what's really difficult is keeping these friendships up. It's really easy to have that first 5 to 10 minute conversation. Having a deep and lasting friendship, that's a whole different story. When I go back to my freshman year, I see a calendar that looks like this. That is a lot of free time. Look at all of those episodes of Arrested Development that I watched. Look at all those naps that I took. Where is that time now? It's gone. And I think a big reason for this is because during my freshman year, my schedule was made for me. I didn't choose any of these things. I had my fraternity meeting on Monday because I was supposed to. I made gingerbread houses on Thursday with 80 pie because I was supposed to. I didn't plan that night. I went to it because that was put in my calendar for me. Now I don't make my schedule anymore. Now my schedule is packed to the brim with things that I have chosen to do because I want to be a part of different groups. I want to be a tour guide. I want to tell stories with kids every Thursday for an hour, helping those 5th graders write a 5-page screenplay and then act it out at the end of the semester. I want to teach kids in the local area how to write stories Thursday afternoon, but all of these things are things that are so easy to see as obligations, and they take away time from those friendships. So whereas freshman year, if you want to see me, I'm free all the time. Now, I know what it means to be a friend because I have to carve that precious time out of my schedule and take the conscious effort to meet up with all of these people. So my second challenge to you is to make things happen in your friendships. Because if I've learned anything in 4 years in relationships, it's that if you don't make something happen in a friendship, it's not going to happen. I kind of like to use the river analogy in this case. If you jump into a river and you don't put any effort in, you're going to float downstream. If you jump in and you put in the bare minimum effort, if you go to the things that are planned for you, if you see friends because they ask you to hang out, you're treading water and you're staying in the same place. But if you really want to make a deep and intimate friendship and a connection with somebody, you've got to swim like hell to keep going upstream. And that's the only way you're going to keep a friendship going. Especially for me now, looking less than a month into the future, I see graduation coming, and at that point, I'm really going to have to start swimming hard because that's essentially a waterfall that I'm going to have to jump up like a salmon. Because I know that I have to make that effort at this point. Finally, I want to talk about career. Our conversations are changing a little bit now that we're seniors. We want to get a good job, and I'm not employed yet. Who knows why, with a resume like this. Anybody would be lucky to have me. But nowadays, the conversations as a senior are turning more and more into who's got the most impressive job offer anyway. And I currently don't. But I don't really care so much about where somebody works as I care about why and how they work. And now I want to talk about why and how I work, because it was really different when I was a freshman. My job the summer after my freshman year of college was a zipline tour guide on Catalina Island, and yes, it was as fun as it looks. It was often more fun than it looked. This was my view every single day. It's kind of blurry to see because I have an iPhone 5. I think back then I had a 4 for my Instagram. So it's a little bit blurry. I probably used the wrong filter. When you go to work every day on the zipline, this is what you're faced with. 1,000-foot trip to the other side, a 400-foot drop. The first time you go on it, it is terrifying. You hop on that line and you hold on for your dear life. You're white-knuckling it all the way down that zip line. Part of training, in fact, my first week on the zip line was hopping on, going all the way to the other side, and instead of catching you, my boss just let me go back into the middle of the zip line, and I was just hanging there. He told me to let go, so I had to trust that that trolley would hold me up onto that zip line. That is horrifying. You don't sign up for a job thinking that that's going to be part of the training process. And to be quite honest, it's really thrilling. It's really exciting when you first start. But you stay on Catalina for 2 months, 3 months, 3.5 months. My job finally ended. I had done this line maybe 500 or 600 times. It's not as exciting that last time. You clip on, you maybe don't even do the checks that you're supposed to do. You just go for it. Don't tell my boss I said that. I still want a reference. It's not as exciting anymore. But when you go back and you remember that first time you hopped onto the line, you remember that you're doing the coolest job in the world. You can apply this to almost anything. Chances are when you join something, it's because you really loved it. You were really excited about it. You were just so passionate about the opportunity to do something day in and day out. And no matter how exciting it is at first, the longer you stay at something, the easier it is to lose that fire. So my last challenge to you is to go back to that first zip line ride and understand what it was like. To go back to your first day of class that you really loved and understand why you took that class. To go back to the first day of any job you're doing and understand why you're doing it and why you want to continue doing it. Look the person in the eye that you get to tell that you love every single day and mean it because you remember what it was like to say that the first time you ever did. It's going to make everything a heck of a lot more fun. I want to finish up with the reason that I think freshmen are so good at all of these things, and it's because they're honest. When you're a freshman, you think that it would be really easy to hide behind different labels, and it would be easy to hide behind telling everybody that you're a little bit cooler than you are. But what I realized living among 42 freshmen is that they don't do this. They're honest about where they come from. They're honest about not knowing what they want to study. They're undecided about their career, their future dreams. They have no idea, and this is okay for them. When you're a senior, this isn't okay. When someone asks you what you're going to do in a month, you have to know. You better know how you're going to survive in Los Angeles. You better know how you're going to move all the way across the country and make money to pay the rent. And if you don't, get your life together. But as a freshman, we're okay not knowing all of these things. We're honest. And we really come into college with just the name and the picture on our very first ID card. I think my mom remembers taking this picture this summer leading into freshman year. And this is all we have. We've got the number, we've got the name, we've got that really dorky picture. We don't have any labels yet. We haven't started working. We don't have a GPA. We haven't gotten involved in any clubs. This is all we have. We have the strength of our character, we have our personality, and we have how we carry ourselves. So my final challenge to everybody is to go back to that first ID card that you have. Remember who you were when you first got here. And instead of allowing the groups that you're a part of, the jobs that you do, the things that you want to do define you, let that picture and the person that you are define those groups, those jobs, those classes that you take. I may be a senior in college, I may be graduating in about a month from now, but I want to keep this perspective, and I always want to be a freshman of life. Thank you so much.